Good evening. This is Flash News. As every night, we provide you the newest events from Polish perspective. And so we start right now with the national vaccination strategy against COVID-19 that has been accepted by the government. Poland has contracted over 60 million doses of vaccines from 6 different companies. As Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki said at the press conference, the government's priority is to vaccinate as many people as possible.
The vaccines will be delivered to Poland and other countries of the Union following the decision of the European Medicines Agency. We have contracted over 60 million doses from 6 companies that were the first to present their documentation for approval by the relevant medical agencies. One person must take 2 doses at an interval of 3 weeks. We will spare no resources for the vaccination process. The vaccination process will start in January. The first group to be vaccinated will be the zero group: medics, uniformed services and seniors. As soon as possible, after the medical staff, the government wants to protect, among others, teachers from COVID-19. I appeal, let's all be vaccination ambassadors, but of course, let's be all those ambassadors based on reliable sources. Such a source for those in doubt is to be a government website and a special hotline. The number 989 after the 15th of January will also be a telephone registration for those wishing to take advantage of the free and voluntary vaccination program.
We keep on local news. Nearly 7,000 new COVID-19 cases in Poland. 349 died. This is the newest data from the Ministry of Health. There's also good news because over 10,000 people have recovered in just the last 24 hours.
Most infections were reported in Mazovia, 768, and in the Kujawian-Pomoranian Voivodeship, 750. Although the coronavirus vaccine will be available in January, the greatest help for patients is the plasma of the convalescents. Therefore, doctors still appeal to donate it. The group of people who have already donated plasma was joined by several dozen soldiers from the 6th Airborne Brigade from Krakow, who have already won against the disease. We met in a specific epidemiological situation in the country and in the world in which we have to support one another. This support is very much needed because the coronavirus does not give in. Over 6,000 coronavirus infections have been reported in the country in the past day, and the availability of the vaccine does not exempt us from the sanitary regime. I will be recommending to the government's crisis management team that we consistently stay at home during Christmas and the winter break. The restrictions will be extended at least until the 17th of January. At the beginning of the year, a decision is to be made about students' return to school.
In Flash News now, time for Coronavirus Worldwide Report. Let's look how Europe is dealing with the coronavirus due to an increase in infection in certain countries. Schools, offices and most stores will be closed and people will spend the holiday season with their families only. And as of tomorrow, both Germany and Lithuania introduce a hard lockdown. What it will look like?
After a few weeks in hospital, the fight against COVID-19 was won by a 104-year-old Spanish woman. I wish everyone good health. May we never run out of it. The fight against coronavirus continues throughout Europe. A new, more aggressive variant of the virus has been detected in the UK.
Initial analysis suggests that this variant is growing faster than the existing variants.
More and more European countries are choosing to tighten their restrictions. Starting tomorrow, the lockdown will be introduced by Germany. It will be forbidden to leave houses without necessity. Only first aid stores and pharmacies will be opened. The introduction of a lockdown is important and necessary. This will allow us to go through the pandemic faster. Tightened restrictions will be restored in the Czech Republic. Restaurants, hotels and fitness clubs will be closed from Friday. The ban on leaving the house between 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. and the ban on gatherings of more than 6 people will also return. A 5-week lockdown is effective in the Netherlands from today. Museums, cinemas and gyms are closed. From tomorrow on, schools will switch to remote learning. The coronavirus is spreading faster than expected. We must shut down all places where people gather. In the next few days, decisions to tighten restrictions are to be taken in Italy.
Now we are moving overseas as the Electoral College has elected the 46th President of the United States. In January, the Democrat Joe Biden will move into the White House. President Andrzej Duda has already invited the President-elect to visit Poland.
Ayes 55, Noes, 0.
This is how the Californian electors voted. At this point, Joe Biden exceeded the 270 votes benchmark he needed to win.
Now it's time to turn the page, as we've done throughout our history, to unite, to heal.
78-year-old Joe Biden received 306 votes and Donald Trump 232 votes, although the Republican candidate maintains that there was a fraud. The Congress is to approve the results of the election on the 6th of January. 2 weeks later, Joe Biden will be sworn in. President Andrzej Duda handed over a congratulation letter to the president-elect in which he emphasized strategic importance of the Polish-American alliance. An alliance which, as the president pointed out, is a pillar of European and transatlantic security and stability. We share ideas and values, the core of which are undoubtedly liberty, justice, democracy and the principal role of the international law. On these we have built strong foundations of our bilateral cooperation. The experts are of the opinion that close cooperation between Poland and the United States will continue in many areas. Energy contracts, LNG supply, it will certainly not be revoked, and even this will be increased because these are far-reaching U.S. interests. The meeting between the presidents of Poland and the United States may take place in February on the occasion of the NATO summit.
From Washington, D.C., we move to the Kremlin. This is Flash News and still more to come. According to the Russian oppositionist Alexei Navalny, it was Putin himself who was supposed to give orders to the group of agents who were behind the attempted assassination of him. At least this is how he commented the revelation about his potential hitman.
Investigative journalists revealed that the killing of Navalny was attempted by officers of one of the secret departments of the FSB. Photos and names of the officers were made public. I know who tried to kill me. I know where they live, where they work, and I know their real and false names. I also have their photographs. This is a story of secret killers from the FSB, which includes doctors and chemists. It is a story about how they tried to kill me several times. The top secret operation of the Russian Secret Service was to start in December 2016, when Navalny announced his participation in the presidential election. Within 4 years, there were to be 3 attempts to kill the oppositionists with the use of a poisonous nerve agent, Novichok. The orders for this group are given by Russian President Vladimir Putin himself. The group was to be headed by a former chemist from the State Institute of Organic Synthesis Technology, in which Novichok was founded. A certain tip, even a very small tip of the iceberg, because this type of practices are not only a feature of the long-standing Putin reigns, but are an imminent feature of the Russian model. Alexei Navalny, who is staying in Germany for treatment after being poisoned, announced that he would return to the country as soon as his doctor allowed him to do so after an attempted chemical poisoning with a nerve agent.
And now, being a virtual Santa Claus is a new experience, but it has many advantages. You can, for example, participate in a virtual Santa Claus Congress, which actually took place in Tallinn, Estonia. Some of them reached Estonia personally. Others, however, saved their sleighs for next year, hopefully.
Typically at this time of the year, the Congress participants would be roaming around in shopping malls, on Christmas markets and many other places. Now there are fewer responsibilities, but more opportunities. Through the internet, we can visit thousands of homes, meet children in their rooms, see their toys. Santa Clauses see a lot of positives in the current situation and claim that there are fantastic holidays ahead. And as it is well known, you have to trust in what Santa says. The pre-Christmas atmosphere can be heard from a distance in London. Fans of the Christmas Carol can admire a theatrical version of the story of the extraordinary transformation of Ebenezer Scrooge. The actor Dominic Gerard, together with a hand puppet depicting the famous Scrooge, wanders around the rooms of Dickens' house, taking the audience on a journey to the world of literary magic where there are no restrictions. An underground record has been set. Slovakia has the longest cave system in the Carpathian Mountains. Recently, new corridors were discovered there. In total, with those known so far, they constitute more than 43-kilometer underground passageways. It is a system of 11 connected caves in the Demonovska Valley in the lower Tatras. Most of them are not accessible for tourists. A foam bath? Yes, but usually rather in a bathtub. Sunbathers on the Gold Coast observe a rare phenomenon. The sea foam on the beach comes from decaying organic matter, and stormy weather conditions and high waves intensify the process of its formation. The more organic matter there is, the further it moves inland. Meteorologists predict that the weather will calm down and the show will end. 2 minutes and 9 seconds. This was the duration of the total solar eclipse, a phenomenon that is best known over Chile and Argentina. The next opportunity in 6 years. This clearly mobilized the lovers of sky observation. Despite the pandemic and appeals not to gather, people gathered in crowds to admire together a rare spectacle of the complete coverage of the sun by the moon.
Oh, it's hard not to sing and dance with these songs. Thank you very much for joining us on Flash News. I see you tomorrow, same time on tvp.info with even more infos straight from Poland. Thank you very much.